Congratulations, you've just decided to purchase a 2026 Lexus RX 350. But the question is now, do you get the luxury or the F-Sport? Both of these lines have very similar features. They're almost like two little sub-brands of the RX 350. Similar price points, similar features, but two very different personalities. So in today's video, I'm gonna be doing a side-by-side comparison of a luxury RX 350 like the one beside me and a equivalent F-Sport Series 2. I'm Dustin Mason from Performance Lexus in St. Catharines. Make sure you hit like and subscribe for more Lexus-related content. So styling is everything in the luxury space. Think about other luxury amenities that us humans like at this point in age. A lot of them are fashion, and fashion in the car world is kind of how the exterior is styled. Some fashion, just like cars and people, is a little bit more mild, and some are a little more bold. Kind of like coffee, mild and bold. Weird coffee reference, I know. But anyway, you get the point. So the one beside me here is the luxury package RX 350 in eminent white pearl. And yes, I said pearl. You might not be able to see it in the camera, but this white has a lot of metallic pearl to it. Meaning on a nice sunny day, you can see a lot of depth to the color. And sometimes that even helps hiding a little blemish here or there on your car's paint. But it does give you a little bit more of that old school luxury kind of look. Headlight wise, this luxury package has the classic daytime running light going across and a single filament LED bulb, or HID. We also have a little bit of styling here with a cornering light at the very bottom, a little bit of piano black, an event that is more decoration than use. And actually it even has a little bit of textured plastic there as well. We have a little bit of piano black here, and over to the grille, I will say, if you haven't bought an RX since 2015, you might think that this grille is quite bold. However, it's not. This is our most mild grille on the luxury RX. And because the RX, when it got redesigned in 2023, added this little nose piece here, that you can sort of see the top of the bumper blend into the grille, I think the designers, when they were designing this, saw that EV, electric vehicle style, come into the marketplace, come in to be fashionable. And that's why the regular grille sort of fades up into this sort of half grille, because in an EV car, you don't really have a grille. It's all one piece. And we already see that in some of our Lexus models. And the RX was sort of the first to start to blend the two. At the bottom, we do have a little bit of a textured lip, but it's not very low whatsoever. The inside here is also a metallic gray, kind of trimmed with a little bit different black. So there's a lot of different colors going on here. However, overall, it's not bold at all. In fact, it's quite mild, if you ask me. So over to the front end on the F-Sport. This is a huge difference. Now, the first thing you're gonna notice is the color. Although it is still white, this is ultra white, meaning it is way more of that bright in your face white with less metallic. Even though when you look up close, there is still some flake there. It's almost like a pearl, but it is way more white, if that makes any sense, because it's supposed to have some contrast to our black grille that you see here. Now, this is more of that classic F-Sport cross-hatching grille. You'll see it still has that piece at the top, that little nose piece. However, it kind of drastically changes into that piano black grille, and it is like a physical grille. I like that Lexus on the F-Sport also accents it with these vents over here. It does look like they are also fake, just like the luxury, but they don't look fake. They have a little bit more of that hatching. We have that piano black at the bottom. This segment here is actually one of my favorites. I think even just the fact that it protrudes out gives that front body kit look on the F-Sport. We got a little bit of silver here, that lip at the front as well. A lot more painted pieces. There's less textured plastic. A very similar headlight, actually the same headlight until you go to the higher packages, which would give you the triple beam LED. But the contrast alone on that front end is a huge difference. In fact, as always, this body style and the previous one, I find that to be the biggest difference, is that grille and that front end. Now, there was a time that a younger, maybe less mature, but equally as handsome Dustin wouldn't have liked the side profile of a luxury RX. But once Lexus came out with this new wheel design and with the bigger wheel setup, I really do love the way that a luxury RX looks. In fact, I remember back before the redesign, so let's say 2020, almost every RX we sold was an F Sport for a period of time. And then when they switched to this body style, it flipped. It was mostly luxuries we were selling, and I think styling had a lot to do with it because this 21-inch wheel, this multi-spoke 21-inch wheel, is both classy and modern, in my opinion. You have a little bit of brushed metal. We have some hyper silver there, and then sort of like this brushed silver, although there actually isn't any brush marks when you get up close to it, and just a regular small break behind it. Side profile wise, we have body matched mirror caps. We do have some chrome going on here, and I was talking to a gentleman the other day, and he told me, he's like, I'm old school, I like chrome. And I kind of thought to myself, oh yeah, that is kind of old school. Like, a lot of newer styling is like deleting chrome, and a lot of people pay money to delete chrome. But on the luxury, we have it trimmed all along the windows as well on the mirror cap. Again, that body matched mirror cap. Surprisingly, we do have some black here. We do have a little bit of piano black on the top of the electronic door handle. And if you're new to RX shopping, this is one of my favorite features of the new RX. That is the electronic door handle. I have a whole video on how to use it even when you don't have electricity. But essentially the concept is, instead of like a moving handle, it's just a little pad that you put pressure on, and that opens the door. More importantly, when you go to leave the car, you just kind of do it in one motion instead of like pulling the lever and pushing with your elbow and all that sort of jazz. But this new one is a lot better. We have some piano black here and on the top of those door handles, and then some textured black on the side. Now, the side of the RX kind of flows sort of into that rear quarter panel, and the chrome at the bottom sort of stops because that's a little piece of glass there. And that is the side profile of the luxury. Side profile of the F Sport. Wheels are sort of everything. Now, this is less of an in-your-face wheel and definitely more of a sporty wheel. It's hyper silver, so it's almost like a gunmetal black. But you might be saying, Dustin, there's something behind that wheel that's different too. And I will say yes, this is the biggest difference performance-wise between the F Sport and the non-F Sport, or the luxury. That is that brake. There is a big brake on the F Sport. So it's like a 6-piston caliper with a big rotor. Few benefits to this. Obviously, if you are going to push the car a little bit harder, having bigger brakes is great. I also heard from an engineer that theoretically it'll last longer because the car doesn't need to put as much effort into braking. It's accurate. A lot of people will say, oh, but you know, a brake job is gonna be more expensive. Yes, kind of, but it's probably gonna last longer. So anyway, behind the wheel is actually the biggest difference here. It is cool because on some of the Blackline and special editions, that's like a painted caliper, and it says Lexus on the side or F Sport on the side, and it's like orange, and it really looks cool, where this color, it kind of just blends into the wheel, so you might not notice it until you get up close, but it is a multi-piece rotor. I think it's super cool. And I love that Lexus did that to make the F Sport just a little bit more performance-wise. Also, when you're looking at the side profile, we have the F Sport badge. So that is on the fenders. That's a homage to the F line. Now, a little trivia for those in the audience here today. What does the F stand for in F Sport? Comment now. I'm gonna count to 3. 1, 2, 3. It's actually because of Mount Fuji and the racetrack, the Fuji Raceway at Mount Fuji, and that is where they test these vehicles and is also the homage towards that, so pretty cool. You'll notice the mirror cap is all black, so it is like, again, taking that contrast from the front over to the side, and with a color like this, that white, it looks really sharp. The door handles I noticed are the same on both, obviously except for the white center, but it has the same piano black. We still have the chrome. We have a black roof now and black roof rails. So that kind of continues that Panda look, which is what I've decided to call this car, is Panda. A lot of guests do black out the chrome, which, like, I don't know, I find on the F Sport, it's not like the chrome stands out a whole lot. Maybe if it was black, I actually like it, but some people do smoke it out. They go to those body shops that can do that, or they put a wrap on it. I'm not opposed. I think it's cool. And then the handles obviously are the same as that electric door handle. Now, just like the modern, gentle person that the RX is, the luxury RX is, the rear, there is nothing too crazy going on here. Obviously, we have our taillight that goes from left to right. We have our LEXUS. We have our hidden wiper that's up underneath that visor there. And then down here, we have a little bit of textured plastic, some gray, and some more textured plastic. You'll notice there is no exhaust pipes. Those are hidden up underneath, again, with the hope that in the future, there's gonna be less and less internal combustion cars out there, so having exhaust pipes might be out of style. Lexus has thought of that and tucked those away because, you know, it's not like anybody's putting a big fart cannon on this thing. This is, you know, more of a luxury car to begin with. The back of the F Sport, or the rump as some would call it, we have a little bit of drama here, but it's nothing too crazy. So the top is the same. You might notice the piano black, but that was actually very similar on the other one. Same with the Lexus logo and the RX 350 all-wheel drive. Nothing, no F Sport badges or anything like that. But the bottom of the bumper, we have a little bit of a continuation of that F Sport cross hatching that we see on the front. And then this big textured plastic piece to the other side as well, and there is a reflector in there. Now I do see sometimes people will actually paint this panel a piano black or a body color. And it does look pretty cool. I will say that, because this is a really big textured plastic piece. It's the biggest textured plastic piece on the car. So having it painted piano black does look pretty sick. I'm not gonna lie. It does have some nice angles to it. Like, again, a little bit of that protruding bit that reminds me of the front. But that is really the only difference back here versus the luxury. So it's mostly the front. Another little detail about the F Sport is sort of strung throughout in a few different areas. You will see an F Sport badge. For instance, this is the trunk mat, and you can see stitched in there, these are actually stitching, it says F Sport, and same with the floor mats, they say F Sport as well. So not a feature that like actually adds any benefit really, other than it's kind of cool, kind of like fashion, it's kind of cool. So inside the luxury RX, this is the subtle luxury that we know and love. Now, RX to begin with has a very big cabin and big dashboard. It's also supposed to be a little bit spacious and radiant in here. The modern RX luxury has this really nice open pore wood grain. I've always been a big fan of wood grain. Sometimes I miss like the old sort of glazed full wood grain on the steering wheel, but that was a little bit dated. I know this is way more modern. All the colors in here are still very gray, black oriented. Now, going with a luxury, you do get some nicer interiors that you can't get on the F Sport. For instance, one of my favorite interiors is called macadamia. It's almost like an off-white, beigeish gray color. There's also a birch that's another kind of off-gray white color. Palomino has been a big hit this year. That is like a more of a creamy brown color. And then there is, you know, obviously the classic black and a few others as well. In the classic black, everything does match quite nicely, all the grays and blacks. We have a little bit of wood grain on the steering wheel. Now it's a little bit separated because we have a full heated steering wheel nowadays, instead of the old ones just had the sides. Still all your creature comforts, a very big screen. We have all the safety systems that Lexus provides. The seats are a little softer than the F Sport. They're supposed to be more of like a touring seat. So a little bit like, you know, more cushiony and a little bit less bolstering going on there. Now some of the higher end ones, so the Executive in Canada has the thigh support so that the seat can actually extend out. And that higher package seat, I do find the leather to be nicer. I find the seat to be nicer. So there is some benefit to go there if comfort is your main game here. However, the driving experience is a little bit different. So on the luxury, it's going to be a little bit softer of a ride. Now with the new suspension and the new chassis, I find it's less of a difference. Where again, on the old luxury ones before the redesign, it was very floaty. This one is a little bit less floaty. However, I did have a guest recently decide that she did not like her floaty ride in the RX. She actually would have preferred maybe an NX F Sport or something that she could feel the road a little bit more, because it is a little bit numbing, I will say that. On the luxury, you do get some things like a cooled and heated rear seat, along with a cooled and heated front seat, and of course the heated steering wheel. So even though it's a mid-package, there's still two above it and one below it, you still get a lot of these luxury amenities. And panel roof is one of them. That used to be a feature that you could only get on a fully loaded RX. But now the luxury comes with the panel roof as well. Now, depending who you are, the steering wheel buttons might be a sway point between the F Sport and the luxury, because on the luxury, they are a physical analog button. It all controls just on your screen there. There's no heads-up display on the luxury package. Some people like these because they're a little more familiar, where I'm gonna show you the F Sport, it's a little bit different. So physical buttons on the luxury. Okay, inside the F Sport, this is where there's some dramatic differences. So again, this is the black interior. However, the way it's trimmed is very different. For instance, instead of the open pore wood grain, we have this modern, almost hologramic sort of design. It's supposed to look like a sheet of aluminum that's been brushed with like a grinder. And now I remember the previous generation, it actually had real aluminum. This is like a plastic veneer, but it still does look really, really sharp and really modern. However, my favorite trim inside the F Sport is the Alcantara, or we call it with Lexus Ultra Suede. So on the door panels, on the seats, and on the dashboard, we have what is called Ultra Suede. And it is like an Alcantara. It holds up well. It's very comfortable to the touch. It looks amazing. It gives the inside a very, very luxurious feel, because that type of material isn't necessary. It's one of those things, it's not necessary. All it is style. In fact, it reminds me on a custom suit when you have like your monogram or custom inside liner, which this suit today does not have. That's the Ultra Suede to me, because it's not necessary in any way. Speaking of monogram, the headrest has an F Sport badge. That was a feature and a detail I probably ignored for too long in my career, because my 2014 LS had that, and I didn't realize how cool it was until people always pointed it out. So that's the little monogram. Let's talk about the steering wheel a little bit. So the steering wheel does not have any wood grain. In fact, it has perforation on the side, so it's a little bit easier to grip. I wouldn't say it's like bigger to grip, but the way it's molded to your hands kind of gives it a grippier feeling. And that's not all, because this has, all the F Sport models has a standard heads-up display, meaning in front of your hood or in front of your eyesight, you can see a hologram of your speed, what gear you're in, what song you're listening to, all these different things. Because of that, we get the intelligent, soft touch steering wheel. So you can actually customize these buttons to different things, and it controls different buttons and features on your heads-up display and on your screen, your multi-info screen down there. I did do a bigger deep dive of this in other videos. People loved it because they were feeling a little confused about it, because this feature alone can be a 15-20 minute video. And in fact, I've actually done that already. So go back, make sure you watch that. It is really cool. Once you master it, it's amazing the customization that you have. We also have a little bit more piano black in here. We do still have heated and cooled rear seats, so you don't lose that going into the F Sport. You have heated and cooled front seats here as well as a heated steering wheel. Panel roof comes standard, and we have a black headliner, which is really nice. Now, in terms of colors, you do get a little bit different colors here. So you only can choose between black or red. That is it. All those other lighter colors like the macadamia, the palomino, are only on the luxury and executive models. So F Sport, black or red, both are great. It is a beautiful interior even in the black, and lately I've been all about colored interiors. I'm still a big fan of the F Sport interior. Now, driving wise, we do have a stiffer suspension setup, a little bit more driver focused. Again, not as much as something like the NX, for instance, but still a little bit more driver focused, especially when you feel that brake pedal a little bit. So if you've stayed to this long in the video, answer me this in the comments. Would you go the stylish and bold, modern F Sport Series RX, or that more mild, softer luxury? Both have some of the same features, albeit a little bit packaged differently, and both have different personality styling wise. Let me know in the comments. I'm Dustin Mason from Performance Lexus in St. Catharines. Make sure you hit like and subscribe for more Lexus related content. And always feel free to give me ideas for future videos. If you're trying to decide between two different models, whether it's Lexus and maybe another brand, or two within the Lexus brand, let me know and I'd be happy to do a video on it.